Hello, Scorpio. Thank you for tuning in. For the main read, I'm going to use the Morgan Greer Tarot by Paul Foster Case and Arthur Edward Waite. There's that. Old box. Old box. And for the supportive cards, the Romance Angel cards by Doreen Virtue. I had to look down. I was like, is that what I shuffled? I guess that is what I shuffled. Let's get into this. Why are these all going to the bottom? That's why are we using the bottom of the deck? I don't even know. Okay, now what's going on here? I feel like there's a conflict here. When I'm starting off with this, I'm seeing the Five of Pentacles as your crowning energy here, which means I feel like there's regret. I feel like there's forgiveness. I feel like there's regret more than forgiveness. I feel like we're trying to get to forgiveness. I feel like that's what we're trying to work for here. I'm just not really connecting on who did what, although it is a general read. Where we're going in, I'm getting like this King of Pentacles go with the Six of Cups. My first honest impression was like a Taurus feel. And Taurus and Scorpio were opposites. They're very loving good people. They're very home-oriented people. But the leader energy and the way they go about things tends to clash. Taurus tends to be very methodical, and Scorpio can be very impulsive. And Scorpio tends to feel constrained by Taurus. Taurus feels like Scorpio is too unpredictable, and it becomes an aggravating situation. Now, when I'm thinking of this, that's coming through, I really do think, because it's making me feel like there's just natural differences between you and whoever this person is. They're kind of like... It's just like you're kind of edging at each other a little bit. And I feel like it's one of these just fundamental differences that caused some type of disagreement. Being at a general read, I know it's going to depend on how you're viewing the situation, who did what. I feel like it's more about personality clashes and the result of that got this situation where it is. Because I'm trying to look at this. The top card here for your mental aspect is forgiving and learning, which it makes me wonder: are you forgiving or do you need to be forgiven? I'm kind of feeling like it's a bit of both. I feel like the pendulum swung back and forth with whatever was going on, and like you were probably kind of going at each other a little bit. How it started, I feel isn't really what the issue is. It's like what happened as it got going, and who said what. People getting upset, saying some things they regret. On the other side, I do feel like this is like saying how they feel. Like they definitely care. The passion erupted because they care. And when I say the passion erupted, like the fight or argument or whatever the misunderstanding, I feel like things were said, and just out of the heat of the moment, things were said that probably shouldn't have been said. Okay. Now, the interesting thing about this is as we go forward, I feel like whatever the situation is that where it went out of control, the other side feels like things are rectified and they're moving on from it. They're moving on from the disagreement. I do feel like you're a little hurt still. You might be lingering on this hurt. Because I feel like they move on from it fairly quickly, or at least they move on in the sense of like they accept how the situation played out, and they drop the whole, whatever the problem was, they just drop it and they move on from it. And it's kind of diminishing for them. They're just not bringing it up anymore. They don't want to talk about it anymore. Not in the sense of like they're refusing to, but just in the sense of like, well, we've solved that, and I think that's fine. I do feel like while you're working on this is how you two of you are coming together in this part. While you're working on it together and you're talking it out, I think you're both recognizing certain things are going to stay the way they are. Especially on the other person's side. There's certain things about them that are not going to change, and I feel like that's what you're recognizing here. And I feel like they recognize it too, that there's just differences. There's certain things that are going to be difference. There's going to be differences between the two of you. And I feel like there's some more acceptance of that. I'm just worried that the problem here in this part of the situation, this is right in the middle where it's being worked out, you're feeling a little upset still, and a little like hurt feeling still. There's some things you're having a hard time letting go of. Certain things that were said that maybe stuck a little tighter to you than you really would like them to. I feel like you're remembering very much how you felt when certain things were said, and it's that pain of that feeling that's kind of lingering. Okay. For more on this card here, the Six of Swords, Free Yourself comes right with it, right on their side, connecting into the situation. Like they're literally moving on from it. Whatever was said, I feel like there's like both sides said some things they shouldn't have. Like I'm getting that feeling. When this is talked out, because I feel like you're both like owning up to what you said, both sides, ironing it out, figuring it out, kind of getting okay with it. I feel like they're literally letting it go. I feel like they're looking at you more as who they see deep down. Like they see a good, loving person, and I feel like they're really letting go of the comments. I almost feel like they're almost like Teflon. Like whatever you said, like it was stuck there for a second, but it just kind of brushed off, and they're like, well, okay. Because I feel like they look at you like sometimes when you're upset, you say some things a little harshly, but I feel like they view it in a certain light. Like, you know what? You were upset, I understand, and you know I love you, and I know who you are. So I'm not going to hold that. I'm not going to hold anything to that. I'm going to let it go. Okay. There's a weird energy here. But I don't think it has to do with this reading. That's interesting. Page of Pentacles is on their side. With more Pentacles on their side. Page of Pentacles, this makes me feel like it's a more conducive energy with Scorpio. Scorpio actually does get along very well with like Virgo and Capricorn typically. I mean, you may have a moon sign or something else in your chart that makes that a no-no for you. But typically, just like bare bones, Scorpio does well with the other two. So I feel like this is saying that this is getting back into harmony with you and this other person. Back into a normal, copacetic situation. I feel like that moment where things were just like clashing, it's kind of moved on. And things are more, like I feel like they're more like letting you take the lead type feel. That's kind of what it feels like. And I feel like as it goes forward, like you have this conversation to work it out. And you do. But I feel like those feelings for you linger on a little bit. But as it goes forward and you see how they're treating you and they're not holding anything against you, I feel like you're letting it go piece by piece. I feel like the reason it's getting better is because you are... It says stay optimistic about your love life. I wouldn't get caught up in like the semantics of the wording there, but I'm getting that this is getting better because you are making that effort, and you want you see the lady out there. She's like offering something. I feel like you're giving the situation its due credit, and you're giving of yourself to let it go. You're just like you want this to move in a better direction, and you believe it can. And you're remembering, you're seeing how they're looking at you in a positive light, and you're like, you know what, I agree with that. And you're like mimicking or mirroring that same sentiment, and you're also making strides the same way. Like I feel like the emotion is hard for you to let go a little bit, but as the situation moves forward, you're feeling better, and it's kind of like thawing out, if that's a good way to put that. Now, I like the ending of this, because we got the Four of Rods and we got the Page of Rods, which makes me feel like it gets really good. Like, things get back to normal, you're feeling good, you're feeling confident. There's differences, but those differences are fine. I feel like it's not bothering you as much, and you're just kind of like, I feel like you're looking in the future in the sense of like you're looking forward, like, what set me off, or what set this situation off? What was the situation? You know what I mean? I feel like you're kind of looking at it like, when this happens again, like you're kind of like, these differences exist. If this happens again, comma, when this happens again, or slash, whatever you want to do there, you're like trying to think through, like, how do I want to like handle this differently next time? Because I feel like this situation, you see longevity, you're happy in this situation, and you're just kind of like, you know what, when this happens again, I want to be prepared for it. I don't want to say things that are going to ignite the other person to say things back that I don't want to hear any more than they want to hear from me. So I feel like you're kind of reviewing and auditing the situation. The Page of Rods makes me feel like you're auditing it, and you might be co-auditing it. Like, the two of you might be talking together, but like in a good moment, and just like you might be just expressing how, you know, you feel bad about some of those things, and you just wish there was a different way that you could have handled it. And just if you had noticed something earlier, or like, I feel like you're trying to like plan for the future, like what was going on that we both could have done differently, things like that. I feel like there's like a very lighthearted conversation, a lighthearted audit about what goes right, what goes wrong, and you're just looking for ways to like pick up on it before it happens again. Okay, so you're just kind of looking out. You're trying to plan ahead. I feel like they like that. I feel like that, like, I feel like you really, like, impress them with, like, the planning piece, because that's right up their alley. I feel like that's right up this person's alley. Whoever this other person is, when you're kind of, like, I feel like you're using the words, I want to plan ahead for the future. The word plan just, like makes them, like, plan, let's plan. Like, I love planning. And you're like, yeah, I like to be spontaneous. But or maybe you have a little something else in your chart. Maybe you're more conducive with planning. The Scorpios, I know, they get things done. I don't know how they do it, but they're very spontaneous, but they get everything done. I'm more of a planner myself, I'll be honest with you. But the ones I know, they seem to just go from one to the next. It seems kind of chaotic, but they get everything done, and everything gets taken care of. They have boundless energy, too. I'm very impressed with them, the ones I know. And they're very, very energetic and loving. They're not afraid to show it, usually, the ones that I know. So I very much like them. What else did we have here? I think I kind of ended here. Yeah. Okay. So I feel like that end part, I feel like this ends really well. It starts off with, like, dealing with a misunderstanding. Now, it makes me wonder, based on your situation, I'm not sure if this is happening in the beginning of this situation, or this is, like, addressing something from the past that's been, like, a thorn, and that you've just decided, you know what, we have to iron this out. We have to deal with it, because there's a little bit of tension that seems to be lingering, so you're having this conversation, and you iron it out, and things get better from there. Okay. But in the end result here, I do feel like it goes really well. It goes really, really well. All right. Well, thank you for watching. I'm going to end this here. If you want if you want a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.